So today I'm really excited to have Antoine from Deeptimized from France over here. So Antoine, introduce yourself a little bit personally.
Yeah, my name is Antoine. I'm 32. I come from Toulouse, south of France. I arrived in Paris 8 years ago to start a PhD in AI on the medical side using AI. Then I decided I wanted to give a try to entrepreneurship and apply my expertise in AI to a work that passionates me, which is sport, basically.
Okay, so your PhD AI led you to sports. So yeah.
Kind of. My PhD led me to get some expertise on AI, and since I was a child, I've been passionate by rugby mainly and by
Mhm.
sport more generally, and so those two things came together through entrepreneurship and now through Deeptimize.
Okay, then tell us about your company, Deeptimized.
So at Deeptimize, we develop AI tools, computer vision tools. So we apply AI to images and videos to automatically extract data from data related to sport performance from any video. And more specifically, we are focusing on getting one type of data, which are event data. But I guess we will get some time to dive a bit more into what data exists and what event data are.
Okay, so you're using AI tools to extract exactly event data, or do you extract in other data as well?
We also collect some tracking data, some tracking information to enrich our event data to be able, when we detect, I don't know, a tackle on a rugby video, to be able to say where the tackle is on the field or which player are doing the tackle or are receiving the tackle. So
Mhm.
trying to use some tracking data by collecting it to enrich our event data.
Okay, so tracking data is probably for enriching event data with XY locations. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. So, like I said before too, that's really interesting because I have not seen a lot of companies doing AI with event data. Tracking data is more usual, but event data is really unusual. So tell us a little bit, how does your idea works? How does technology behind it work?
Yeah, definitely getting event data is more technically challenging
And
than.
I'm sorry, Anton, to interrupt you. For non-technical people, okay?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting automating the collection of event data is definitely super challenging because action in sport, they can take so many different shapes, different forms, and so it's you cannot hard code a pattern to define what a tackle is, what a scrum is, what a pass is. On rugby,
Mhm.
I'm talking about. If you hard code, you won't have a robust model. How do we do that? So basically, we have 9 years of R&D behind us developing that through 3 years of my PhD, 3 years of PhD of Guillaume, my co-founder and who's the CTO of the company today. 3 years of maturing the technology of the merging of our two PhD. Basically, what we do, we're able to, from videos, to extract automatically patterns that are fine-grained, so super precise on the video and super deep patterns that we're able to combine through time and follow their evolution to be able to detect action. So basically what we have is a methodology that is able to learn spatial temporal patterns, spatial in the image, temporal on the video. And we have a database that we give to this methodology so it learns those spatial temporal patterns that are linked to our actions of interest. I can see through your eyes that maybe it was maybe too technical. But basically we have an AI, we show examples of what we want to learn, what we want to detect, and the AI learns the patterns that it needs to learn to be able to detect those.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Good part of the more questions I had, like the thing that you were talking before, that you have a right database, I understood it, but the before that you have two types of data, or yeah, just walk me through back a little bit.
So you want me to explain the difference between the kind of data or what? Sorry, do you understand?
Yeah, correct.
So basically, you have two kinds of data for sport performance analysis. You have
Mhm.
tracking data, as we said, which basically consists in detecting, localizing players, people in an environment, basically on the pitch, and sometimes the ball, knowing where people are. This information today it's well collected through GPS or through video systems and AI. It gives super raw data, right? Knowing that Kiri is here and Antoine is here is good, but how do you turn that into performance insight? It's not super obvious. That's why we generally in sport performance sciences a second type of data are added, which are event data. Knowing what is happening on the field. And so when is there a dribble or a shot on basketball or on football or a tackle, scrum on rugby. And these data are collected manually, almost everywhere for every sport basically. And so what I was saying, sorry, I got lost in my sentence.
Yeah, you were saying the difference between tracking data and event data, and you were saying that event data is collected manually.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we think that with our AI, we bring the most value by automating the collection of these event data, since today they are collected manually. So you have to deploy up to 7% live for a Champions League game, for example, to get those data, those event data. And there are a lot of them. And then you need to rework on it because what you collect live is not that precise. And so with AI, we're able to be more standardized, more precise, do it automatically and super rapidly to do it live, basically.
Interesting. So you mentioned live, right? So how quickly are you able to get this data from the videos?
So today we have two products that integrate this AI engine that does automatic tagging. We have a platform where clubs, federations, they can upload a video and choose the type of analysis they are interested in. And today, a 2-hour uncut game from kickoff to final whistle from the referee. So it's about 2 hours, basically. Mm-hmm. For us, it takes about 30 minutes to process. So it's fairly quick, faster than real time, actually. And we also have an API that integrates this technology. Existing platform can integrate this AI engine to their product. And today, this API is live, basically. It's a real time analysis.
Interesting. So you mentioned that usually it takes 2 hours to annotate for teams, but you are doing it in 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and let's say, what are the accuracy levels? I understand that AI couldn't be perfect, right?
Of course.
And how does it work over
as a human, right? Basically, it's where you put your threshold. Either you have a low threshold and your system is super sensitive, it will detect a lot of events but will make a lot of mistakes. If you have a high threshold, what you will detect will be good, but you will miss a lot of existing action. Today, by optimizing our threshold, we're able to ensure that we detect 99.9% of existing action. So let's take tackles on rugby. Mm-hmm. You have between 200 and 300 tackles on rugby. So we're able to detect almost 100% of those existing tackles. And we have between 2 and 4% of false positive action that appear, that look like tackle, but that are not tackles. And so for 300 tackle per game, it means that we have between 4 and 9 additional tackles that are not tackle. So basically we have 100% of existing action tagged and a bit more because we apply robust and generalist patterns.
Okay, and if we are translated to football, because more of the audience is familiar with football and me as well, let's say in football, what kind of events do you track?
Any collective action, so passes, corners, duel, interception, shots, free kick, kickoffs, basically what enable to sequence the game to know ball-in play time, and in those sequence, what are the main actions. And then we have a level 2 analysis that enables to say if a shot led to a goal, if a referee decision led to a red card or a yellow card, to bring more depth into our analysis. We have kind of the generic actions, and then we are able to go deeper. And we collect about between 80 and 90 kind of events.
Okay, 90 of events you collect. And then you said, so you collect it, and then the second layer that you're adding where you say have the shot led to a goal, or was it a shot? Do you do it manually, watch it and confirm, or how do you...
No, we don't do manual. We are 5 people in the company. We cannot allow ourselves to do anything manual. Everything's automatic. And we are adding label per label because we want to ensure this quality of data that we are providing. We don't want to add a lot of data, a lot of labels covered, but having a bad quality. We want to ensure that the label we are providing are correct and are accurate and match this 100% sensibility, so detecting all action, all passes, and having few passes that are not passes. For example, when the ball boy sends the ball to a player, or when the player on the pitch sends the ball to the corner guy so he can kick. It looks like a pass. It's not a pass, but our AI, since it's super robust and super strict on the pattern learn, it will tag them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got you. Instead of having a lot of events, but that are not precise and not 100% correct, you're focusing more on the high level events,
Yeah.
but you want to make them perfect.
Exactly, to make sure that we are bringing value and that we are basically enabling experts to save time.
Mm-hmm.
Today, in clubs, in federations, video analysts, they spend maybe 80% of their time collecting manually this data and spending 20%, and they are experts, and they are spending only 20% of their time exploiting this data for coaching, for recruitment, stuff like that, where their value is. With our AI, they can spend 20% of their time maybe correcting, looking at what the AI did, and 80% of their time exploiting their expertise through this data.
Yeah.
So that's why we need to make sure that we are not missing any action, because if we have holes in our analysis, they need to look over the whole video to fill the gaps.
Yeah. But tell us, like,
Sorry, I cannot hear you right now.
you cannot now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So tell us, it's really interesting. Tell us, like, what are the main, like, current last challenge you faced while developing a system for tracking a event AI data just recently?
What are the main challenges? Well, it's setting up this threshold, so it's fine. We are able to learn a lot of stuff, but defining this threshold to have the right level of what we want is super challenging, basically, and it's generally super related to creating a database that's complete and that match our methodology. So the challenge is more generally through because we are doing a lot of research. Not a lot of companies are doing research that deep. Our job for us is to push the state of the art of what exists. So we have to allocate a lot of resources doing research, and real research, and not like trying to push what exists and to answer applied sport needs. And so yeah, it's a bet when you are such a young company to keep doing research and not wanting to do only product deployment and stuff like that. So doing all this research is super challenging, and we need to accept that it takes time. But it's by unlocking the small locks each step and learning collectively in the company that we are making it really relevant and really powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's not making the same thing like everyone else doing. It's basically finding an edge and finding a unique thing and developing. And
yeah, we had to start over compared to what exists basically. We had to almost start over and rethink, because a lot of event data that are collected, the few event data that are collected automatically today, it's through tracking. Saying, okay, Kirill, he played for Barcelona, Antoine as well, lucky. We are lucky. Today, you have the ball. 1 second after I have the ball, okay, statistically there was a pass, okay, because we are able to follow us. So through tracking, you can kind of automate some event data collection, but you lose a lot of information visually, because what you have through this analysis to tracking is a mini map where you have players moving. Through that, you can indeed infer a lot of information, but you're missing a lot visually about the quality of what's happening and stuff like that. So yeah, we had to kind of redefine what exists to be able to bring a solution that answer well this challenge of automatic event data collection.
okay, yeah, interesting. And let's say in football, so I'm again circling back to technology because it's really interesting to understand. And like, let's say in tracking data, we've mentioned that look, you have Kirill over here, and then you have Anton over here, and then ball is moving from Kirill to Anton. Probably it was a pass, right? So
yeah, statistically it was a pass, yeah.
yeah, I understand how it works with the tracking data, but let's say in your technology, how do you track the path exactly? Like, is the thinking, how the machine is thinking behind it?
Basically, it will learn patterns that enable it to statistically make the right decision, but based on pixels.
On
It will on the pixels of the image. So, for example, when I'm looking at you, I'm able to grab that you have eyes, a nose, a mouth, and that all of these put together makes a face. And through time, I can see that sometimes your mouth is open, sometimes it's closed, sometimes your head is doing like this. So this, I'm through time, the evolution of these features, I'm able to detect some action, me as a human. An AI is exactly the same. It's learning patterns. That's so for football. I mean, it's kind of a black box because we are doing full deep learning. We are training AI end to end, from the image, from the video to the label. We are not in the middle saying anything, biasing the training. And that's why it's complicated to train, but that's why it's so robust in the end, because the patterns that we learn match the decision. And so that's why we are working basically, trying to have great patterns, great features that are learned, fine-grained, and that match the decision, and that through their evolution, we're able to detect what a pass is, what a tackle is, or what a shot is.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I would say probably the biggest challenge over here is creating a database and a data set.
Yeah. A little anecdote that I'm working on shots recently on football, trying to improve our results on shots. And basically, what we realized is that our AI, one of the main patterns it used to detect goals, shots that led to a goal, is celebration, which makes sense. But I said to Nathan, which worked in the team, that the day we decided we don't celebrate or we celebrate differently the goals, probably our AI will need to be retrained, right? Because it's the celebration is super correlated to goals, right? So it's funny also to sometimes to say, okay, if you let this machine, these methodologies, this deep learning methodology, they are super good at finding shortcut. They are super lazy basically. So if I give you 3 images of a dog with white background and 3 images of a cat with a colorful background, the AI will say, okay, white background is a dog, colorful background is a cat. It's not relevant. It's non-relevant features, right? So you need to have a complete database that is super coherent. It is also super large. So the only way to have the right answer is to find the right patterns. And one of the big things we are doing also is doing some what we call explainability. As I said, we train end-to-end our AI. So we have this model that learn on its own, and what we can do in the end is test it to know how many percent, how good it is, right? But also we are trying to open the black box to try to validate that the patterns that were learned are relevant, to make sure that it's at least a bit generalistic. And that's how we discovered this celebration.
It's not easy.
No, it's not easy.
Okay, interesting. And let's say, in example of a shot, right? Do you able to understand if the shot was on net or off net?
Yeah, you mean on target or off target?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, we're able to say, was the ball touched by a player, deviated from its trajectory? Did the goalkeeper touch the ball? What else? Was there a goal or not? And was it on target or off target? Yeah, definitely. The outcome of a shot is either it's blocked, either it's on target, either it's off target, or it can be what's called woodwork, I think, which is a post or a transversal bar. That's basically the outcome. I mean, not the outcome, but the target. And blocked is when you don't know if it's on target or off target, because the shot was blocked by a player on the way.
Okay, yeah, that's really interesting. And let's say, how do you approach cases when they are controversial? Let's say a game happens, right? And let's say the player is passing to somewhere next to the opposition net. And how do you define if it was a pass or if it was a shot? Let's say.
I'm not sure I understand your question, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I understand the case you are presenting.
Yeah, so the case I'm trying to print is that the player, let's say, is trying to cross, right? To pass to his teammate, the teammate who is close to the opposition net. And then somehow the goalie gets out and takes out the ball, in that cross. So how do you define this situation?
We apply strict patterns. So if it match the pattern of what if we want to learn as a goal or a cross, it can be annotated as both. But more generally, these edge cases, we don't really mind, because we are training end-to-end with a big database. So we are learning a bit, but really a tiny bit on each example. So edge cases like this, more generally, they are not a problem. We let the AI learn its pattern, and it will decide based on what it learned if it's a goal or right. So we don't really stop or focus on these edge cases, right? What we want is statistically good, and more than statistically good, statistically really, really, really good. So then the analysts, they can focus on these few edge cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
when it's controversial, we don't say. For example, we don't if a referee whistle before the goal is scored, we count that as a on target shot goal,
Uh-huh.
and that you have also a decision which is referee. But we will let people decide if they want to use that as a shot, as a goal, or whatever, or if they want to remove it just because there was a. But we shouldn't bias our analysis just because based on our expertise as human, right? As human that understand football. Our AI, what it learns is image, video, football. It doesn't learn anything related to human comprehension of the game. What we want to learn is robust patterns, once again, related to.
And does your AI also do you use sound somehow
No.
to it? So it's a image and then videos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't
Mm-hmm.
use, we don't.
That's really interesting. I think one more question I had, but I need to think how to say it correctly. So try to understand me. What I'm trying to ask is that you mentioned that you are trying to learn your AI, like teach your AI, and then it's based on the pixels, right? That,
Yeah.
and then if I understand correctly, you could extract the pixels only from image, right? The frame of the video.
Yeah.
And then let's say you're detecting, in case of the passes, right? You're detecting, okay, in this frame, the pass is happening, right? But on the other side, you need to detect if the pass was successful or unsuccessful. And it might be 30 frames away, maybe
Yeah.
50, maybe, 100 frames
That's
away.
why it's spatial temporal. We are when we want to predict a certain time, we have the past, the future, and so basically when I say we do real time, it's how many frame are we taking? I think it's something like 30 frames windows that we are using.
Mm-hmm.
And we can add data after, right? It's not a problem to add data. Our AI makes a decision when it's sure it's the right decision. It's not going to guess the future, right? We are learning based on what's visual and what's there.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if you have a pass outside of the camera,
Mm-hmm.
we are not going to invent with ChatGPT and Midjourney. People think AI is magic. Our AI is not magic. It's applying strict pattern. We are bringing value where today humans are working to be able to bring faster, more standardized data automatically. Right?
Okay, interesting. And then let's say after you've developed the system and after it produced the output, do you correct what AI has done, and how you do not do this?
No, we don't. We don't do that. Well, I mean, we have quality control in house, but not for our client. We have for experimenting to understand, to improve. We do some experimentation in house, but when it's on the platform in the client's hands, we don't touch them. We don't
Yeah,
see
yeah,
we don't.
yeah. And so in house, so let's say AI, expected that this was a shot on net, on goal, right, on target,
Yeah,
and then it wasn't. So do you guys watch the game yourself and correcting what AI did and telling?
basically we aggregate all of these mistakes and
Mhm.
then we try to understand when we have enough volume. We try to understand why, because once again focus on one example is not going to make the difference, and you will bias your whole AI that statistically works well just for one case. So yeah, when we aggregate this kind of edgy case and errors to then when you have a statistically big set of those, trying to understand why, trying to understand why it's happening and how we can correct it and improve it. Yeah, definitely.
Look, yeah, so we'll need to wrap it up. I have a blitz question for you. So first of all, what is your favorite sport?
Rugby, 100%.
Rugby. Okay. What is your favorite player?
Who's my favorite rugby player? I want to be original, but how not to say Antoine Dupont at the moment, right? I don't know if you follow rugby, but Antoine,
I,
you'll look
I
it up.
by saying that rugby is your favorite sport, you're already the first one who said it. All right.
Yeah, maybe it's French. It's super French. And where are you from?
I'm from Ukraine.
Ukraine. Okay, yeah. Most probably there is not much rugby in Ukraine, right? So yeah, but we know that we started in rugby for two reasons basically. First, it's our passion. We're super passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing we do on the Monday is to debrief the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
the rugby weekend. Tonight is the semi-final of the French Championship, so we are super excited and we are talking a lot about it. But and also because in France rugby is fairly rich and it's not as well addressed as football or as this global sport, right, such as tennis, football, basket. That's why we started on rugby, and that's why today we are going to basket, tennis, and football because it's global, more bankable also sports, right?
Okay, what is the favorite part of your job?
Myself is basically, I'm a super passionate person. When I have something on my mind that I like, so for example, I love board games. When I'm passionate about board games, I have 60 board games at home. I want to bring people together to play, and so basically that's what Deeptimized is. I'm super passionate about AI, super passionate about sport, and so I want to bring people together to work together and try to push, trying to learn, and basically building this company, building this team, building this technology. It's our first company. We are learning a lot, and so yeah, it's super unstable but super exciting, right? Sometimes I'm tired, but more generally I'm super excited, super happy to go to my job because I'm going to learn a lot, get to meet some of the clubs I love so much, and yeah, trying to build that modestly, great spirit, great company culture where people are happy to come and they are happy when they leave. So mainly the human side, I would say.
Okay, and what is the worst part of your job then?
The worst part is this instability, but it comes with the excitement. Either you have a boring job, super safe, but yeah, it's super safe, but it's boring. For me, I feel like I pushed the cursor super far away into the unstable, but super excited, super. But yeah, worst part is this uncertainty, like related to what's the cash of the company, right? Will our company be able to take off? But we are working on that, and it seems to go fairly well. And we are trying to enjoy, not to aim too much at the top of the mountain, but try to enjoy the journey because it feels like biking uphill, right? To build your company, so it's every day pushing yourself.
Interesting. All right, Antoine. So, what advice would you give to people who want to start their company in sport tech first, and to guys who just finished their universities and they want to enter this space?
So in sport, I would say, I mean, for me, it's the same. It's the same advice on both. The main learning I had, I mean, the top one advice I would have, and I'm not that experienced, so super modestly, but I feel like you shouldn't be scared to write to people. Often you put people on, you feel like you cannot reach them. Most people, if you write to them and say, "Hey, it's what I did at first. Hey, I'm Antoine, writing to Stade Toulousain, which I'm super fan about. I'm a PhD in AI. I'm launching my company. Can we take 30 minutes to talk?" Most people would be happy to say, "Yeah, let's take 30 minutes to talk to this modest, nice person and have an exchange." For me it would be the same advice for sport or for anybody, any space is not to be afraid to talk to people, be nice, be modest, and try to learn a lot, listen.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah. So not to be afraid to speak with people and
Yeah,
how to keep moving over
yeah,
there.
definitely. And also find something you're super passionate about because you are going to eat a lot of that. And I feel like it's good when you launch yourself to have a not to think too much about it. No, you need to think about it. You need to make sure that you're not at risk, right? Me, I'm a pretty privileged person. I grew up in France, parents that could pay my studies, stuff like that. So I'm not at risk. I know that if I fail, I'm not at risk. Why was I saying that? Because yeah, I was going to say you shouldn't not think too much about it, because if you think too much about it, you will see the mountain and say, okay, I'm not going to get to get there because it feels too scary. And you need to. Me, if I knew, I think if Antoine 4 years ago knew what was ahead, maybe I would have said, okay, maybe I should find a job that's well paid, super nice, easy, and hide myself in a job that maybe I'm not too interested. But I'm super happy I took the leap because there is so much more around that, right? You should make sure that you're not at risk, but once you know that, launch yourself and you'll find a way. It's by, I mean, you should, I mean, for me, you should have, when you aim at something, it should be between 6 months and a year. Because if you think a 10-year plan, you will change, your plan will change, so not reachable. If you think at a 10 days goal, you're just led by your day-to-day spirit, right? You're in a bad mood, poop, you go this way. You're in good mood, poop this way. So you need to set up goal for 6 months to 1 year. You will change, things will change, and by having these midterm goals, that's how I feel like you should manage your decision in your life.
Antoine, thank you so much. Like speaking with you, I can feel how passionate you are about what you do. And what I am, and I think everyone who's listening to us, what we want to wish you is to keep this spirit, to keep being passionate.
Thank
You'd
you so
like
much, Karen. Maybe we'll see. I just told you 6 months to a year will not be a unicorn in 6 months or so or 1 year. So we'll
okay,
see.
okay, Anton. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.